money, them a tea. And them a sell out the beach. Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy candle, we can't buy time. You can't for me again. Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch a blind and a resort to crime. You can't for me again. Come me say big up all the charities and all of the givers. Some a go like say them powerful, me go make a bigger. The urgent the promises done and them not deliver. Cut up the youth and rough and it's going in whatever. Them a bull money and they lie them. Corruption smell and they pocket them smell. When police don't a market like Satan out of hell go mash up people start and people them sell it gun. On the tree market man, on them a tree they cat man, on the tree they peanut man, on them a tree they dirt man, on them a tree they sun man.
Boom! I mean, I say a couple to the flex they represent for Wayne Global TV. So I say, you know the code in the Wayne Global TV is what fully blessed on 90 days. So I say, yeah man, to the fullest. Yeah man, make sure them log in to Wayne Global TV. So I say, check it out. So I say, one cup of flex. So I say, Wayne Global. When you watch you know, see them a plan up and a try to put them on pan we head. But man, I live too long, them want Wayne Global fitted. To him juggle so smooth that them want him life for dread. I throw the bank I like the miracle, but we ain't all about the bread. We open up in the ears and no listen when we said, cause we lyrics them so smooth like the linen on the bed. Them one with a fall, we live in pan the edge, I must say true, make this them. We in Global TV, we are 90, and 90. Who Jaja bless, say no man can curse. Give it the Range Rover, who no drive yours. Boom! We in Global TV to the fullest one cup of excellence. See me?
Good evening and welcome to Pimpinella and Puppet. Is your Jamaican Prime Minister a political prostitute, a political puppet? Because your Prime Minister certainly ain't a Pimpinella. Good evening, and welcome. I am angry. There are things going on in the country to make me angry. Call the Jamaican Prime Minister and call Jamaican mothers, particularly those who've got their sons and daughters in the army and in the police force. Are you signing up to this death warrant? Mothers, will you be signing the death warrant of your children? But after all, one would say that's what they sign up for. In this case, no, not at all. Jamaica is not under attack. One, Jamaica doesn't have financial or military capability to deal with the current issue in Haiti, while Jamaica is unable to deal with a handful of criminals at home. But your Prime Minister is rubbing up with his pimpinellas. In order to deceive you, the Jamaican public, that the Jamaican Prime Minister is rather doing something good and the Jamaican Prime Minister is rather concerned about the people of Haiti. Good evening all, and welcome. Good evening to those on the X, to those on the Twitch, on Facebook, on YouTube. Good evening and welcome to your DRIVETIME London program. I was upset this morning because I was still wielding away in my dizziness and to tie a dead horse, to tie a horse to Andrew Holness this evening. One would need to be in a state of mind. But when you look at the happenings in our country, the desensitization of the people, there's so much that's robbing me. Good evening and welcome. I'm sweating. Beaton Teach, Wagwan, good evening and welcome. Patricia Matthews, how are you? Good evening. Debbie Jarvis, good evening. Good evening to Sunshine. Good evening, Natalia Freeman. Good evening, Kate M. Good evening and welcome. Good evening to Lilith Foster. Colleen Humphreys. Good evening and welcome. Jay. Good evening. Paula Facey. Good evening. Audrey Rossi. Good evening. Amazing Grace. Good evening. Good evening. Novelet Blake. Good evening. Rosemary Samuels, good evening and welcome. Jamaican Foodie, good evening. Good evening, Sasha Lewis, good evening. Patrick Evans, good evening. Sharon Powell, good evening to you all and welcome. Like and share the live, please. Cousin Jamie, good evening. Sim, good evening. Those are two of my moderators, you all know that. Good evening to Cousin Marina. Good evening. How are you? Sister Faith, Brother Roger, Brother Karen. Good evening. Good evening to the community, my community of parity. Good evening and welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Spring is ever coming closer in the United Kingdom because the weather is changing. The sun is staying up much longer. This time would be very dark a few weeks ago. Sun has just gone down, not much too long. But by this time tomorrow evening, it will all be over, done, kaput, move on. Only if it goes in cartel favor, then we'll have a syndrome of civil claim against the state of Jamaica. But whatever happens tomorrow, the issue in the murder trial of Vybz Kartel and others comes to an end tomorrow, whichever way it swings. That's the last you will hear of the criminal matter judicially, whether it goes left or right. I hope we don't go for a job. We can't take no more job right now. A remittal for retrial would have been a draw in the circumstances. After being confused, let me go and change my top, please. I'm getting rather hot. I'll be back. What the bun and the wholeness, not bun and the wholeness. What the hat and the wholeness, not hat and the wholeness. But some of you mothers are signing on to a death warrant if you don't come out and demonstrate against this government, Georgia Dennis. But yesterday, I won't take you back into the drunken scenario. But I know a lot of you yesterday end up as dizzy and frustrated, probably raise blood pressure like mine, given what you heard of a budget yesterday, the waffling, the so much of nothing that we heard yesterday was enough to make anyone dizzy, was enough to raise anyone's blood pressure. Mary Messenger, if you are to go through your brain, to try and understand, Joe Brown, all of what you were hearing yesterday. And please, don't ask me anything about the budget. If there was a day when I was lost, and this is no joke, this is no hyperbole, given that numbers are something involved numbers, yesterday was confusion for me. I'm not used to them nice something there. But one of my researchers sent me some very graphic scenery last night from two separate incidents across the country. Before I get into that, let me play something from a People's National Party MP in Westmoreland, Carly Jones. Good evening and welcome. With regards to the crime situation in Westmoreland getting out of control. So just let me play that. And I must say to you all, you must have noticed on my program, I really do not focus a lot on the murders that happens in our country. On my part, it is sort of deliberate. The reason why it's not that it is not important and highlights ought to be given to it. One, I find those stories really, really depressing. On the other hand, these stories are widely covered. A lot of the murders are widely covered in the national press. So therefore, I take an issue based on state of mind and all that, not to push those issues, but this evening, it's the issue of crime, especially murder, that I will focus on this evening. It's not that I don't concern about it. That's one of the great concerns for me, but it's an issue that is widely covered in mainstream media and by a lot of other social media personnel. But let me play this clipping from the People's National Party councillor in Westmoreland before we proceed.
I feel very naked right now and I need help. I myself need help. My children have not been in school.
Ms. Chang, we have seen where one of the young men in your community has been shot, another has been shot and injured. What is your take on that?
It is a very sad situation right now, and there has to be an end to this. Because Jamie, otherwise called Biggs, he has been on the campaign with me on several occasions. I remember one time when he said that his bike broke, and I was very, very shocked this morning when I learned of the killing. Amongst others who have been killed that have been on my campaign, amongst myself who has been threatened many times. And we need some closure to this, and we need some peace in Savlamar. I'm begging for some peace right now. I do not feel safe. I feel very naked right now and I need help. I myself need help. My children have not been in school. And there's some, there's some incidences I don't even want to disclose on here, which is a very, very, very sad situation. And I'm very worried right now. Not only for myself, but for my supporters and the people of Savlamar. We need some peace. I am calling on the superintendent of police for the Savlamar, the Westmoreland division. And I'm also calling on everyone in Savlamar, including the JLP supporters, and I'm calling on my fellow PNP supporters. Everyone, we need to come together. The election is over. There's a clear winner, and we need to just come together now and let this work. We need peace. We need no more killings in Savlamar right now.
This was 10 days ago. The situation in Savlamar is nowhere to come in under any sort of control. Will the new hands of Kevin Blake, as an established police officer that has gone through the ranks, one that has, even though sometimes it don't work really, academic credentials behind him, I wonder if his policing will make a mark or a shift on the crime situation we are experiencing in our country. Two sets of video came to me yesterday, which made me very depressed and angry. The first one was an incident in Penhill, Manchester. Quite a nasty accident. Multiple vehicles, multiple persons involved in that quite a nasty accident. The image out in public, even if social media allow one to do so. I would never put such graphic image out there in public. But the part that really drained on me, the two standout bit that really drained the resources of my mental strength, Jay, good evening and welcome, was one. This is something that is wide. The lack of emergency service, whether it be police, ambulance, or fire, when we have such a massive accident on our roadways. To see people just lie there, bleeding out. To see people just lie there, injured, serious injured. Good evening, Wellness Warrior. Bleeding out. And no emergency assistance in order to save some of these people's lives. Because a lot of trauma, whether it be accident, shooting, stabbing, or whatever, that happens in our country, a lot of people die for lack of warmth, for lack of care, for lack of attendance. It's not really a lot of the time from what happened. It's about the lack of emergency services in our country. And that was disgraceful to see. Those were some of the things that the Americans were talking about the other day when them up the travel advisory, because the based on the crime rate, it was always at level 3 from about a couple of years now. The issue was the load of healthcare issues and the lack of healthcare that was added to it. That was the problem that the government was having. But this is the real problem for the Jamaican people. A country which is gearing up, to go take on America war. Why you don't tell America, say, if you are prostitute me, call Andrew Holness. Why you don't tell America, Andrew Holness, if you are going to prostitute me in order to get your hands on Haiti iridium, at least help me with the areas where you identify, say me I feel so horribly with you. The rule of prostitution, Mr. Holmes, is something for something and not something for nothing. Why don't the Jamaican government get into dialogue with the American government and seek that type of assistance in order to boost your health care? Because you, our Jamaica people, innocent picking, got thrown into America war zone. War what America create for himself. Because if them never assassinate the Haitian president, we wouldn't end up with where we are right now. OPPS official, good evening and welcome. Why don't you prostitute yourself for something, Mr. Holmes? You can't just something for nothing. So prostitution is about something for something. So if you're going to prostitute the state of Jamaica, send the children of Jamaica in danger, blue wave. Then at least America should be able to help you to reboost your health care, provide you the well-needed emergency vehicles that your country need and don't have. Why our people stay roadside and bleed out in an accident? The other limb of that accident, which really drained on me, was the desensitization of the Jamaican people to trauma. The desensitization of Jamaican people to trauma. Any one of us who grew up before them, but everybody want a failure. Those of you who grew up when we are right pen pal, when we are going to children homes, go look for a pen friend to write to. Sharon Pierce, good evening and welcome. An incident like that happening in any Jamaican community. The natural instinct, everybody would go into help, bawling, and try to help the situation, get whatever vehicle available to take them to the nearest hospital. We have become so desensitized to these issues, these traumas, that the most important thing on such a scene, the most important thing on such a scene is a video and a photograph while people are lying there bleeding out, mourning in agony. People are just there like, nothing ever happened. I don't see anything in the mainstream media about that. The other incident which griped me was the shooting in Ocherius as well. That was put in the Gleaner. The Gleaner had an article on it. The same issue again with people just lie there bleeding out. No emergency services. People are just there videoing, walking around casually, standing casually, as if somebody just bucked them to. The desensitization of our people. Well, once somebody gets shot or have an accident, it's no more of each one trying to help one. Try to get them in the nearest vehicle to the nearest hospital. This is what we have become. But isn't it rather a deliberate mindset, though? Look how when politicians call we out with it, how ready we were, how dedicated, how emotional. Billions have gone missing from Ministry of Health. Billions have gone missing from Ministry of Health. And look at our healthcare. And you don't want people to talk about it. You all don't want people to talk about the messy healthcare that we have. The way our people are dying because of lack of healthcare. A lot of our people in Jamaica could be saved, provided we've got good healthcare, good first responders. A lot of people them bleed out pan road. A lot of people them just scrape up throwing anything from an accident scene or whatever. Can't go to hospital. Kill them, some they kill off people fast, or rupturing your spinal cord, bleeding out. Because the people them will creep you up and can't go to hospital don't have the experience of first aid care. Maybe I go say it's time Jamaica got the French route. But then as well, if we don't have Band-Aid, because in France, everybody have to, especially if you're a driver, you have to have a first aid kit in your vehicle, and any sort of first aid issue you come upon, you must render assistance. It's a requirement. But if we don't have Band-Aid, if we don't have bed, if we have to set basin pan to catch water dripping in our big main hospital, if we spend 21 billion per Cornwall and it can't done and we hear say they want more. Do you see how insulting it is when they come turn up in front and talking about first world fuckers, beg your pardon? How we get to rub up in our first world? Look upon with hospitals. Look at our police in of course aggressive police in our foreign. Norman Ferguson. Look at our police in Michelle Guthrie on Facebook. Good evening and welcome. Look at our policing. Look at our health care. And then they want to come convince you about first world country. Imagine so much wasn't stolen from the healthcare budget. And on me, I make a propaganda pandemic. A Pamela Monroe Ellis said, billions from Ministry of Health have been unaccounted for. But this government is taking your children into an active war zone. Look at what is happening in Sablamar. The government, since the start of this year, just have ram it down with Chotso because they know that's the worst thing at the polls. Just have ram it down with Chotso. Say crime and go do. But nothing don't go so. We know from even the reporting in a public plus where them hide, since the start of this year, crime is just spiraling out of control. It is just spiraling out of control. 19 people last week. Security stepped up in a Grange Hill over the weekend because of the breakdown in a Westmoreland. But the Prime Minister would have you believe that them gearing up to go to Haiti. But look at the Jamaica situation. It's not any more better than Haiti. Remember, Joe Biden did tell you you're on a trajectory to Haiti and Johannes. It's Joe Biden. The same Joe Biden will turn around and prostitute you. The same Joe Biden will turn around and prostitute you if you're going to Haiti, go dig out iridium. Why you don't ask them to help you with your crime situation? You don't ask them to help you with your health care because they've disgraced you publicly in front of the world the other day. How much you are a failure on crime and health care. But it's the same Americans you are bending over for. Grange Hill is just getting out of control. You can't contain Grange Hill. Maxine Cummins, good evening. You cannot contain all of what is going on in Grange Hill at the moment. And you want to send Jamaicans who signed up to protect Jamaicans, you are sending them abroad in order to further French and American interests. Babies are dying in your country from firebomb, Prime Minister Holness. When you send the young men and women to Haiti, when them come back, mash up from war zone, I want to go to send them America, go fix them up. Do you have the healthcare resources and expertise to patch up war zone people and the wholeness? But the Jamaican people are so desensitized. They are so tribal. They are so disengaged that this man is going to take the country somewhere that surprises those of you on the ground. We here who is preaching every day sees where it's going. It's going to be shocking for a lot of you when you wake up to it. But where unholiness is taking you, the people of Jamaica, it's going to be total destruction, because this Prime Minister, used by the French and the Americans, is opening up a war front between Jamaicans and Haiti. This Prime Minister is opening up a war front between Haitian rebel and the state of Jamaica. And it's your children. It is your children that will be lamb to the slaughter. Because if the British, the French, the Americans, and all of them, every one of them were the Haitians, toppled in the last 200 years successfully. You Jamaican sprinters and you Kenyan long-distance runners is no match for a handful of Haitian rebels. No match for a handful of Haitian rebels. So what your Prime Minister is doing is sending your children in a death trap. And you parents of Jamaica, especially your mothers, are so sad. On a picnic and Haiti and fight war. but prepare to bury them. May I warn you? Prepare to bury your children who your prime minister will push into the crossfire between the Americans and the rebels of Haiti. The rebels who want to make sure America don't entrench somebody in their politics. To dig out them iridium in order to further America economic and technology interests. So don't think. But let me also take you back to why this is going to go nasty if it happens. However way they're going in, okay, they make it seem to you like they are ready, blah, blah, blah. The force is to be led by Kenya. The Kenyan court have already blocked it. William Ruto may be appealing to a higher court, but it's already been blocked by, I believe, the Constitutional Court. The parliament also, the Kenyan parliament also wasn't much on hand. The Haitian prime minister resigning doesn't make an iota of difference in the situation, so I'll get into that further. So on what they're pushing, it is already a stalled situation, this multinational security support. It's a stalled situation that will probably never get off the ground. And if it does get off the ground, all it is going to do, it is going to make the situation worse. Now to answer you, Sophie, this is a deal struck between the Americans, the international community, and the president, because all of them know that when it comes to fighting the Haitian rebels, you're not going to win. They are aware of that. This is why the Americans are not putting there. They're not sending their men and women and assets in there, because they know if they go there, they're going to be there for a long time, because the rebels are not going to give up. Why this resignation doesn't make a difference? One, that was an American puppet, which they highly disagree with. The new council that they will be appointing after they had that conference in Jamaica, or summit, or whatever they had in Jamaica a few days ago, is to put an interim council in. But if you carefully listen to the president of Guyana when he was speaking, the rebels are totally left out. The rebels are totally left out of this scenario. This will not be solved without a negotiation with the rebels. The rebels will not take another Western puppet in force on them. The war will continue unless they get the choice to choose the president to run the council. The council setting up by this international community is just another bourgeoisie wealth theft interference by the Americans. The Americans would want to have you believe that the Haitian, this is what the people of Haiti want. No. The people of Haiti want the French and the Americans to get out of their darn business. It is all of what you see going on in Haiti is because of centuries of French and American interference. They are an independent nation, a cultured nation, one will not buy out and sell out like we, what politicians can pay with. If politicians now do the work for the people, they have to move up. But we got filled with prime minister can just stay there and prostitute our wealth, our resources, They can illicitly enrich themselves. They can take on the reins of government within their families and their clique of friends. And the whole on just roll over. So then when they're already not criticize Haiti people. One thing Haiti people have, let me tell you, Jamaicans. They are cultured. They know who they are. They know what they want. And they don't want to be ruled by puppets. And they don't want to be ruled by outside influences. What is happening to their country? It's not that they can't get it together. It's just that America and France should butt out of their problem. The issue with Haiti is the stealing by the Americans and the French of Haiti's natural resources. Those who use their legal system and their military and global influence to lock us into all sorts of international bullshit. That the Americans don't sign up to a lot of these international things that you see the Americans run around and push onto us. The America, most international treaties, you see the America ram down the world throat. The Americans are not a signatory to any of them. They don't want to be held accountable to no one for nothing. This is why you see the hegemon of America, Elaine Pearce, go around the world, tantamount to barbarity and human rights abuse, and nobody can draw America in line because America is not a signature to all these world bodies, such as International Court of Justice and other. America don't recognize these people. America is a law unto itself. America don't recognize these institutions. As much as you see, these institutions are housed in Washington or New York, and as I call them, international American organizations, such as the UN, the World Bank, the World Health Assembly, the UN Security Council. Even though within the UN Security Council, the balance of power is kind of shifted in there because China is so powerful economically now that the veto system and its economic behind its veto really make a difference in how that operates. But most of these systems, America cannot be held accountable by them because they are not signatory to them. Therefore, they can move around country and behave lawlessly however they want. And what the Americans are doing in this situation is pitching black countries against each other to further America's interests. But to our slave sellouts, they are our modern day problem, not the white people. Our sellouts are our problem. When you listen to William Ruto of Kenya, you would think that man is a Pan-Africanist when he speaks. If you're a Pan-Africanist, William Ruto, why don't you tell America and France, get out of our business. Make we deal with it as a group of black families. We don't have messed it up for 500 years. Make we as black families dealing with it. But these old sordid old harlots get prostituted by the West because all they want is powers. It is the same as the Rwandan president. One would hail Paul Kagame as a good leader, despite what one wants to say, because he's taken where he's taken Rwanda from and to in the last 20 years. But then again, when you look on the other hand, Paul Kagame is the one who signed up with the British to institute modern day human trafficking. Paul Kagame took a deal with the British Home Office that the British Home Office should pick up asylum seekers who come to Britain and transfer them to Rwanda, and Rwanda will house them while Britain is processing their application, and their application is denied. Then they have to stay in Rwanda. Slavery all over again, with black leaders at the helm of it. Why underholdness and the leaders of CARICOM and the African Union don't tell the American and the French, but out of this? But out of it, you have done enough to make it worse. You have done enough to make it worse. A president was there that the people was sort of all right with. The Americans moving. Because you got to understand, there's a bourgeoisie class of Haitians in America. Likewise, a bourgeoisie class of Cubans in America. These two sets of people always assist the American government in carrying out a lot of them fuckeries in Cuba and Haiti. More so Haiti, because it's hard for them when it comes to dealing with Cuba. The issue though is Jamaicans, good evening. Are Jamaicans aware of the consequences of the Jamaican Prime Minister being pushed by the Americans to open up a war front with Haitian rebels and the state of Jamaica? Remember, the Haitian president was assassinated right in his very house. And his assassinator ended up in Jamaica. So it is not hard for a war front to open up between Jamaica and Haiti, because the Haitians know how to get into Jamaica undetected. Jamaica doesn't have the capacity to patrol their waters to stop Haitians from coming there. Look at your health services. What benefit is the Jamaican state? Just like how America take your liberty, believe it. America disgrace you in front of the world the other day. The same America will come down Monday to have bilateral talk to you, even though this was an emergency summit and the development we are going in Haiti. The Americans still find it possible to come with a whole craft full of issues they have with Jamaica and China. Because Jamaica and America have no other problem with Jamaica unless there's an alignment to China or Cuba or Russia. That's the only time Jamaica have problem. America have problem with Jamaica. Jamaica can sit down and carry out all sort of human rights abuse, all sort of stealing in with public purse, all sort of maladministration, and the Americans will turn a blind eye to it. The only issue is when there's an alliance with communism or social democracy. Then you see the Americans jump in like them care. And then they go slip fast now into this is the problem what our country has been and has ended up into with the West and the East. We have been under tyranny and embargo for 500 years by Western powers. We have gone through a litany of changes. We started with enslavement, free labor, colonization, corporate owned. Investors controlled. We have gone through all these different cycles. So when you hear people talk about my sweet Jamaica, where we own nothing. Jamaica is a corporation owned by ex-corporate entities and investors. That's why we don't own land there. Even if you buy a piece of land there, you buy rights to the land. You're not a land owner. You own a right in the land. You don't own the land. And the right is in time. Whether the time is on lease or on freehold. Lease would have mean, say, you buy it for 100 years. Freehold would have mean, say, you buy it perpetually and you can pass it on to generation. But when the generation done, go right back to the government, the crown. Throughout these times, it is fair to argue that throughout these different structural changes and administrative changes, the West has pumped money into Jamaica by way of aid, investment, loan through the World Bank and IMF and all of those. The issue with that is the Americans turn a blind eye over 50 years to our politicians. The British and the Americans turn a blind eye for over 50 years to our politicians with all those money they're investing into the country. They turn a blind eye to the mismanagement, the stealing, and all that, because all they're concerned about is maximizing profit of Jamaica and control that piece of historic land in my backyard. So the American doesn't really care about the Jamaican people per se. China over the last 20, 30 years has grown exponentially and thus started to invest globally. And one of China's big target of investment is within the African Caribbean diaspora, where we are and where our situation is a consequence of slavery, colonization, and all of that. Given that China has experienced barbarity, colonization, and all of that from the British as well, but never mind, they have bounced back. Whether China is using its gain to topple America's influence in Africa and the Caribbean, or China is saying heart of heart that, look, America has taken the West has taken these people to 500 years of barbarity. They have worked and they have built great cities. The wealth and the human resources of Black people have built great cities across Europe and America. And America and Europe could really have done more to develop the infrastructure of those economies. So therefore, now that I have the ability to do so, I'm going to help my fellow human who went through that same experience as me, but it's having a difficulty in pulling themselves out of it. That's a good gesture. The issue with that, though, because to be fair, it's politics, and everything in politics is strategic and about you more than the other. The issue with China investment, in my view, it's not so much the issue with China. In my view, on a realistic issue, China investment is welcome in Africa and the Caribbean. Why? because we see some infrastructure development with 500 years of relationship and 60 years of independence or whatever, with relationship with the West, we did not see those infrastructure development. However, the issue here in these partnerships with the Chinese development is our leaders, our crooked leaders. When China is cutting a deal with any other nation, bilateral or multinational deal, China seeks about the interest of the state of China. It is what your government ought to be doing when they're going into deal with China as well. The interest of the people of Jamaica, the state of Jamaica, is what should really matters. What fucks up, beg your pardon, these deals is your politicians and the stealing, the kickback, the malpractices, and the awarding of contract and procurement, and the money just blow like a butter against sun, and everybody turn a blind eye like it now. It ain't turn a believe it. This is why China come in and do the work themselves. So China money don't keep pumping into the country. You, the people, don't see the development. Like there are a lot of money where the West pumping in Jamaica over the years, and we don't see the development, and the money gone like butter against sun. China is making sure the development is seen. The issue goes back to our crooked politician. When China is making a deal with a politician, China is not holding a gun to their head. It is fair to argue, yes, that China uses its soft power, its money, strategically. But it doesn't mean say you're a politician, them, or you're a prime minister, them, to bend over, for everybody will stretch them hand, just because they know how much them can rake and creep out of it, and it's not about what is going to happen for the country and for you, the people. It is why your government have so much undocumented Chinese at work on Chinese project in Jamaica, and Jamaican people are not benefiting and is not being trained in the process. The issue goes back here to your government, who, when they're going into such deal, because they're the weaker partner, they just roll over as if you're scratching pig belly. But no, they have a lot to offer. You have a lot to offer to the developers. But because you're not going into it with the interests of the people, you're not seeking a deal for the people. And this is where Haiti has ended up. Because everybody wants to come and take their piece of shove out of Haiti without the people of Haiti getting anything. It's one of the richest countries in the Caribbean. The resources Haiti is sitting on, it's 2 times, 3 times more expensive than gold. Iridium. August, good evening and welcome. So, of course, August is recognizing my topic in the thing. Of course, when Trump said, we country a shithole country, of course we leaders run the country like shithole country. It is for that reason why we lay down on the roadside and bleed out when we have an accident or when there's a shooting or a stabbing. We lay down on the roadside and bleed out because it's only in a shithole country that's called itself a first world developing economy. You don't have good health service. Your health service is depleting. You don't have emergency first responder. Your education is depleted. And you want to call yourself first world, and we feel walk and sing and clap happy, and every time when I come in front of the mic, when I find an issue with social media, we are holding you to account. We no mainstream media. We hide the story 26 page in. We will come blow it up on front page every day. We will come blow it up every day on front page. Because what you all have got away with so long is the silence from mainstream media, the bootlicking, butt scratching mainstream media in Jamaica, pocket licking media in Jamaica. They are the ones who allow our society, the political class of our society. I'm broadcasting, friend. I'll call you back shortly. These political class are the ones who have taken our system to where it is. Because whenever time they get there, no matter what they promise, it's all about their self-interest. Michelle Lewis Wilson believes it. So when you hear your prime minister come and talk to like this Haiti crisis, what going to call us? This Haiti crisis is not something where he is drawing Jamaica into a warfare with the Haitian rebels. That discussion you see they have in Jamaica, that proposal you see them make about President resigning and appointing this new council, it will not work. Anything that doesn't involve the rebels will not work. Everybody knows that in a state of war, when there's war and fraction, and if you listen to that man's statement, the Guyanese president, in this new stitch up where them are organized, the rebels are not involved. How is it going to work if the rebels are not involved? The rebels are the ones who hold more power and influence in the country military at the moment. Otherwise, the president can go home. Otherwise, he wouldn't up in the air and down. So the rebels are the ones who hold the country. Uno, sit down in Jamaica and conjure up something. Fitting to say, Uno can calm the situation down by instituting a council. I tell you, this could even cause greater war. Because doing anything around the Haitian rebels, it is only going to create a bigger war. Because all this will be seen as it's another American influence coupled with Haitian bourgeoisies in America that is willing to allow America to suck out the iridium out of Haiti without the people of Haiti getting any benefit. Just like America for years, decades, been sucking out aluminum out of our country with about 4 to 5 other rich material in that that they can get out of that aluminum, you know the word. All of what you see is going on in Haiti is a game of who control the most powerful war material. Marlene Gordon, good morning. Good afternoon. It's about who control the most powerful war material, which is those powerful material found in bauxite as well as the iridium material, because a lot of them space exploration and them new Star Wars games and the whole of them something and the new modernization of technology depend on a lot of these material, and particularly the iridium The iridium is mainly produced by number one producer, South Africa. Number two producer, Haiti. Abina Sidoki, good evening and welcome. Saying that Haiti was not involved in the high. Carlos, the rebels, what them do, Carlos, is choose a few of their people in a Haiti where they can for them side. A few religious group, people from different political parties, and so on. All of those people joined the summit virtually online. However, Carlos, the major person or persons that needs to be a part of this negotiation are the rebels. They hold power and influence in the country, Carlos. Otherwise, the president couldn't go home. So if you are going to stitch up this council and them is not a part of it, Carlos, you're only asking for an ongoing bloodbath. You have to negotiate with the rebels. This is a public stance that the Americans took, like them to negotiate with rebels. No, America create rebels, then America will have to go around and sit down and talk to them. It's just how the hegemon works. Just like how you say America did Bin Laden to help take down the Soviet Union, and then Bin Laden turned on him, they have to go sit down and negotiate till they kill him or whatever. It's just the same thing. Just like how you say America ISIS to fight against President Bashar of what's it called Syria. And then when them extend themselves, and them same one America have to go negotiate with when them get. So the Americans always in this major hypocrisy when it comes to do with the destabilizing of other economy. Syria. The destabilization of other economy. It was the same thing when Libya was becoming so powerful, more powerful than them, was doing more for their people. They went to the United Nations, because this is why you need to understand that the United Nations is an American organization. The United Nations, even when there is no need to, will provide space for America to go into people's country and destabilize it. Just like you see, they went into Iraq and destabilized it because the ILD was coming to an end and Saddam wasn't going to refresh it. Just like you see, they went into Afghanistan and destabilized it because Bin Laden was stifling the poppy growth. And if you know the West and opium, they will bomb you to protect their opium. So they got rid of Bin Laden to produce to the growth of opium. A lot of people don't understand the context of that in Afghanistan. They destroyed Libya because Libya had a plan for Africa that would topple the economy of the West and the American dollar. So the Americans go around under the, what you call that doctrine, the Monroe Doctrine. The same mentality in slavery, it still remains. No matter how you see them just up in a jacket suit and going to these fancy buildings to have these high-level meetings, it's the same barbarous old murderers that we have been dealing with for the last 500 years. Believe you me, the only thing has changed is their talk in public. Nothing much. Agency Driver 5 and Veteran, Wagwan, my youths, big up on yourself. I just read it there about fake. Yes, Kamina Watsitarada was explaining this morning. I'll bring that for you tonight. That video will take me time. But Kamina Johnson was explaining in a press conference today that the orphans they are taking from Haiti is a private orphan that has 50. So make it make sense, TV. Good evening and welcome. She was saying that I'm trying to cue that thing, but I might have to bring it tonight because I don't know if it will be ready in time because it's quite a video. But her argument was in clearing it up is that the orphan is a private orphan in Haiti and it's a private orphan in Jamaica. Actually, she called the name of the orphan that will be really fronting the process, really. But that video now go ready in time. Come in, me screen out quite a bit out of them press conference because I mean, I just say we couldn't go to another day of Nigel Clark. Sorry, so I never do much of him. But Carlos, the whole issue is with the Haitian situation. All of them is going about it the wrong way. You have to get the rebel involved. Otherwise, it's an ongoing war. Again, on the other side, Carlos, this argument must not be believed by the public. The international support force, them Kenyan and Jamaican police or soldier, whatever them are selling, you don't believe them. It's highly unlikely that it will be actualized. The Kenyan court, the mission is to be led by Kenya. The Kenyan parliament wasn't quite on board. The Kenyan court has blocked it. And I'm sure the Kenyan Supreme Court might also block it as well because police are not trained to do international work. You can't send police in a war zone. Train them you might for a period of week because Mexico said them a train, Jamaica said them a train. The Kenyan court has blocked it, Carlos. I don't know if William Ruto, because he's another piece of shit. Beg your pardon. I don't know if William Ruto is appealing it, but the one of the lower courts, I think it's the Kenyan Constitutional Court, has blocked it. So this is nothing nowhere to get off the ground, Carlos. Even if it's something to get off the ground, it will be a bloodbath. You're sending people into a territory where they do not understand the terrain or the language. You're sending these people into a country, Carlos. They may say Haiti not lose no war. They don't say how the Haiti did do the French, the British and all sort of them 200 years ago. Then there's some simple people you can't beat. They will fight us. Only me don't have that tenacity. Only just don't have it. Only don't even have the tenacity to come out and demonstrate against the tyrannical government. We don't have the tenacity to give a tyrannical government an ultimatum that this or that. It will be a bloodbath, I'm telling you. Prepare to donate to buy body bag for the state of Jamaica. Kenyan people will have to deal with their side of it. But I'm telling you, Jamaicans, if they embark on this mission, we will need donation to buy body bags because that is where it will end. There is no way that they're going to go in that country. So why do you think America are going? Why do you think from whip up the French over 200 years ago, they have never turned back? They have tried to rob them in all sorts of different ways. Real sweet, good evening and welcome. Why do you think the Americans are pushing up in front? Them can't offer any more blood at the moment. The Americans say blood are running at Jamaica carelessly there. Why don't we offer up some of theirs? Them take blood running for joke down there. Look upon the fuck prick they're gonna pardon because this is what I mean about come on this man. Come on media got in a rage and also look at the situation that is going on in Westmoreland that your Jamaica Constabulary Force, Westmoreland and Central Village. Look how we're going in a St. Catherine, Clarendon, Toad, and Uno, dirty Jamaican chief police. Are them Mephicus or are them leaders? But however, Uno Jamaican police cannot do something there. Cannot control. We're going in our territory. One a ban and grow. But on a one go to the world top fighters then with an beer. In the height of slavery, these people toppled 3 nations and expelled them. And they don't want to go war with one. Somebody just send me this. Anticipating possible surge of people fleeing Haiti, state deployed force to South Africa. Anticipating a possible surge in refugee fleeing the anti-gang feud, lawlessness, and chaos in Haiti. Governor Ron DeSantis on Wednesday ordered more than 250 law enforcement officers, guardsmen, and soldiers. Researchers, see if you said, screenshot the rest of the article they send me, please. I don't have time to go look it up now. But the situation is getting out of hand. And if they don't get the rebels, if they don't have talk with the rebels, the situation is only going to get more out of hand. The rebels are not going to back down. The rebels are very powerful. So therefore, in order to bring stability back to Haiti, one, white people, time for them to get out of our business. Good God Almighty. When you're not tired for thief. Because this is all about stolen resources. You have done us a lot, Europe and America. Try to leave us to let us see if we can do it ourselves. Let me go see if we partner with China and Russia, with some new governments across Africa and the Caribbean and do it. But we're not going to have that help from the West. The West is vested in keeping us in this position and condition because it is beneficial for them economically, militarily, and all of that. I don't outrightly oppose to Chinese investment. What I'm opposed to is China investing in our crooked politician rather than in our country. Or our crooked politician is messing up what could be substantial Chinese investment for the country that Jamaicans could benefit from. Or our politician, when making a deal with the state of China, they do not take the people's interest and the state of Jamaica's interest at heart. It's rather more of their pocket. And this is some of the fuckeries that we see. While our development and growth, politically and socioeconomically, is very much stifled. It is time for Black people to do it on their own. China did it. India is doing it. Fuck the West, we say. Thank you very much. This was Global Television we will be back with you for our People's Point.